Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me today for a session of our Village Vitality series. My name is Aline, and for today's class, my sequence is focused on just feeling settled and content in our bodies, minds, and spirits. And so we'll be doing a lot of just opening type movements, stuff to open the chest, stuff to open the hips. When we get really tight in these places and close down in these places, we can feel, not like ourselves, unsettled, and just don't feel as whole. So hopefully by the end of class, you will have this sense of openness, expansion, and just comfort and settling in the body. So for today's class, you'll notice, those of you that do use mats, that I have the mat set up a little bit differently. So we will be doing some wide-legged postures from the chair. So that's why I have it set up like this, so that when we go to do our lunge stances, that our feet are on the padding of the mat. So if you're using a mat, especially if you have hard flooring, go ahead and set it up like I have it. And I just realized I forgot blocks. We don't really need them today. They're definitely not a requirement for the class, of course, but we'll probably want to use these maybe for our hamstring stretch and our forward folding and stuff like that. So if you have blocks, go ahead and get them handy. If you don't have blocks and that's something that you would like to add to your equipment, but you don't want to buy them, you can always rent them out from me. So we have plenty of blocks, plenty of yoga mats, plenty of chairs. Take advantage of this free service. I will personally deliver it to your residence, so that you can just have the equipment that you need to feel comfortable to do all of these classes. All right. So let's get started. For today's centering and breathing technique, we're going to be doing Bhramari breathing. One of my favorite, just simple, easy to execute, kind of fun breathing techniques. It's called bumblebee breathing, or that's the translation in English. And it's just really good general benefits for the ears, nose, and throat with that vibration that we create with this breathing technique. It also vibrates certain parts of the brain that are really helpful to regulate some of our endocrine glands, our hormones, our neurotransmitters. So it's a really nice, just centering, fun, easy breathing technique. If you would like to, you can lean back a little bit in the support of your chair. But just if you do that, just make sure to keep the chest open. So we don't want to be practicing bad posture, getting too comfortable. If you would like to, though, you can sit upright and at the edge of your seat if you want to be working on these posture muscles. I'm going to do that today since this breathing technique doesn't take quite as much concentration as some of the others. I feel that I can concentrate on maintaining an upright posture and also on my breathing without it getting too complicated. But it's up to you. The important thing about this class is to always listen to your body. So I'm giving recommendations. I'm guiding you through a sequence. But if anything ever doesn't feel right in your body, if you need to take a break, if you need to modify, do it. It's your practice. Only you know what is going on in your own body and what it feels like. And yoga should never feel painful. It should never be a sharp shooting, pinching pain. We might get a little bit of muscular burning from just some of the muscle effort that we're doing. We may have some general discomfort because we're stretching maybe in ways that we don't normally. And we are trying to expand our body's capabilities. So there is always going to be a little discomfort possibly associated with that, but it shouldn't ever be extreme. It shouldn't ever be anything you're gritting your teeth or holding your breath. Those are all kind of signs from our body that it's too much. If once we bring our attention to, oh, I'm clenching my jaw, I'm holding my breath, if you can fix that and remedy that and still continue the movement, that's awesome. But if you notice you're doing it, you can't stop doing it, then you're probably working beyond your body's capabilities for right now. So, just a little nugget, a little seed to plant there in the mind for your practices moving forward. Okay, so decide if you'd like to sit up and work on those posture muscles, if you would like to recline back a little bit, but let's get settled. And so if you are sitting upright working on the posture, go ahead and everyone close the eyes. But those of you sitting upright, I want you, without looking at yourself, just feeling it, to maybe just sway a little bit front and back until you're able to identify a place to stop where you feel like the shoulders are stacked above the hips. Sometimes we think we're stacked, but when we work through this little type of shifting movements, we realize, oh, I was actually leaning forward a little bit. And being stacked is actually maybe feels like you're leaning back slightly. And so once you feel that you've found that alignment, go ahead and take those shoulders and scrunch them up to the ears and roll them back and down a few times. That's just going to help you relax the shoulders, open the chest, and continue to work on that wonderful upright, open posture that we tend to lose as we age. Our spine starts to curve forward, back to the way that it was when we were infants, the very original spinal shape of a curled up little baby in your mommy's belly. All right, so once you've done a few shoulder rolls and you feel that you can maintain that nice open chest and relaxed shoulders, now just take the head and shift it forward and back a little bit. So it's kind of like you're jutting the chin out and you're tucking the chin back in. And what we want to try to find from this movement is the ears centered over the shoulders. And once you feel you've accomplished that, you can invite just stillness into the body. Now the only movement in your body is your breathing. So begin to notice how much movement you feel. Where do you feel movement when you inhale and when you exhale? And if it feels accessible to your body and your breathing right now, see if you can lengthen and deepen the breath. So making those inhales longer, fuller, deeper, inviting more movement from the rib cage, from the chest, and maybe even the belly expanding as that diaphragm presses down on your abdominal organs. And then just feel that body settle back into place on each exhale. The inhales invite shape change, expansion, lift and opening, and the exhales bring us back to that starting point. And for our breathing technique today, we, on our exhales, will make a humming sound, a hmm. So as you're exhaling, both inhale and exhale through the nostrils, you'll just create that sound. Feel and bathe the whole head in that vibration. And so whenever you're ready to begin that, once you feel you've deepened the breath to as much as your body will allow today, start to incorporate that humming. Keep cycling through like that, trying to just exhale and hum until you can no longer do it. But don't allow the body to stiffen up or invite tension from trying to hold that exhale longer than you should. Go ahead and keep cycling through, just noticing where you feel that vibration. Sometimes it tickles my lips because they'll vibrate against my teeth. So just see what you can observe. See how much hum you can get. If you can, take a couple more cycles of this breathing. Observe whether you have lost your posture, trying to lengthen again through the spine, shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders, as you take your last 1 or 2 breaths of your Brahmari breathing. And when you're ready to let go of this breathing technique, just return back to your normal breathing after your last exhale. Notice that sense of movement still in the head, that sense that the vibration is still there. And go ahead, and when you're ready, and just, if you're reclined back in your seat, come to the edge of your seat, sitting upright, trying to stack that spine, stacking the shoulders over the hips, ears over the shoulders. And go ahead and drop that left ear down towards the left shoulder as you also drop your right hand by your side. Doing a little neck release here. Letting that head hang heavily down. So the weight of the head here is providing the stretch that we're feeling in the neck. And if you'd like to increase that stretch, take that right hand and just grab underneath the seat of your chair. Maybe even just grabbing like that increases the stretch you feel in the neck. But if you would like to, you're going to lean over to the left side. So with that neck still reaching and stretching, you're just kind of trying to lean the whole weight of the torso against this hand that's holding on the chair. And you might feel that stretch increase. You might feel it all the way across the top of the shoulder even. And go ahead and release out of that pull. And on an exhale, lean back into it. Inhale, release. Exhale, one more lean, deepening that stretch. And when you're ready, an inhale will release and lift the head back to center. And just pausing here, noticing how different the sides of the neck feel. To me, they feel like different lengths, like totally different body parts, even though it's just my neck. Release that left hand down by the left side. And then when you're ready on an exhale, drop that right ear down towards the right shoulder. Just breathing here, trying to relax that left shoulder down. So releasing that arm down, just the weight of the arm dangling by the side can increase the stretch. And maybe that's enough for you. Maybe you don't want to do the hand grab as well. But if it felt good to you on the other side, if you'd like to try it, just grab hold of either the leg of your chair or right under the seat of your chair. And start to lean over to that right side. And you probably can't even, if you're looking at the screen right now, you can't tell that I'm leaning. It's a very subtle movement, but you'll feel the effect. So you're just kind of pushing your weight over, like you would just drop or collapse over to that right side, but you're holding on with those left fingertips. And after this little hold, let's take a little bit more dynamic movement now. So inhale, just coming out of the lean, but keeping the head relaxed down. Exhale, lean a little deeper. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean. Inhale, center. One more lean if it feels good to you. And inhale, coming all the way back up to center, lifting that head as well. And maybe just gently turning the head side to side or rolling the neck around, just decompressing from that deep stretch. And sitting up tall again, releasing that right hand down by the side. Let's inhale that left arm up. On your exhale, you're going to come into a side reach. So I'm going to bring that hand down the leg of my chair, or if I'm lucky enough to have a block and if I'm flexible enough to reach it with my hand, I can rest that hand on the block. Try to keep the chest opening forward. So you're getting a deep stretch along that whole left side of the body. We're stretching here those muscles in between the ribs, our intercostal muscles. When those get really tightened up, our breathing becomes harder. And so if we can open those up, it makes our breathing easier, helping with that feeling of settled in the body. On an inhale, slowly come up. Exhale, you're going to open this left arm out and back behind you as you move into a twist to that left side. So I'm going to take the right hand and try to bring it along the outside of my left leg. And then this left arm, I'm bringing maybe to the chair behind me. Just trying to open that chest over to the left side, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Inhales, lengthen. Exhales, maybe I twist a little deeper, or at least the sensation of twisting deeper, if not actually doing so. Take one more deep inhale here. On your exhale, start to release the twist, but try to keep that right hand where it is. So I'm going to release the twist. I'm going to take my left hand and cross it over my right. I'm going to round out through the back. The higher I try to cross, or the deeper I try to cross the arms. So if I'm kind of trying to cross higher up towards the elbows or towards the upper arms, you'll feel this lovely stretch all along the shoulder blades and the upper back. Tuck that chin down. Really press out through those shoulder blades. So again, squeezing those arms together to help get that nice deep stretch. And maybe just turning the head side to side, or just shifting around a little bit as you hold this stretch to really get into those stuck parts of the muscles. And when you're ready on an inhale, you'll release that stretch, uncross the arms, and come all the way back up to a nice, tall seat. Releasing that left hand down this time. Inhale the right arm up. And exhale into your side reach. So maybe that hand is on the seat of the chair next to you for support. Maybe you're bringing it down the leg of the chair and gripping on that chair leg. Or maybe, again, you have that block. Or like a coffee table or something that you can bring your left hand to give you support in this nice, deep side reach. And as you're holding here, really try to expand into the rib cage. You're breathing mostly on that right side since the left side is a little bit collapsed here. Good. Take one more deep breath. With your next inhale, lift up. Exhale, start to open that right arm out as you twist to that right side. So you're turning the chest, you're bringing that left hand over and across to the outside of the right leg. And my right hand here, I'm bringing it somewhere to the chair if I can. So it could be the back of the chair. I'm kind of gripping here on the bar back. You could just bring that hand behind you or to the side, just wherever it feels comfortable. Thinking of lifting and lengthening on each inhale in this twist and twisting a little deeper on each exhale. Stimulating fresh blood flow to our abdominal organs. In a way, a kind of cleansing movement for the body and the organ systems. When you're ready on an exhale, you'll release the twist, but keep that left hand where it is. So we're going back to that nice upper back stretch, back of the shoulder stretch. So again, I'm going to puff up through that space between the shoulder blades. I'm trying to cross those arms as high as I can. And tucking that chin down to the chest. Breathing into that space between the shoulder blades as if you could send your breaths there and pry open that tight space with each inhale. Prying open a little bit more. Bringing a little more fluidity to the muscle tissues. And when you're ready to release this stretch, do so on an inhale, slowly uncrossing the arms and coming up to seated. Good. Let's, on an inhale, now draw in that right leg or right knee into the chest. I'm actually going to interlace my fingers underneath that knee to just give me a little more support. You could use a hand towel or something like that if you have trouble gripping those hands, but we're going to move into a few rounds of cat and cow here. On the inhale, you're drawing that knee towards the chest. Belly pushes forward towards the thigh. Chest opens, chin lifts. That's our inhale. On our exhale, we're starting to straighten that leg out any amount, letting the weight of the leg kind of pull us down into a back stretch, similar to what we just did. So head drops, navel presses to spine. Inhale to lift and open. And exhale to round and stretch through the back of the body. Keep moving at your own pace, so you may start to move faster than this. You may move slower. If doing the leg here is too hard, just do the spine movement part. So you can let that leg come back down to the ground and just focus on opening the chest and then rounding forward. One more inhale. And on your next exhale, instead of coming into that rounded position, go ahead and open that leg out to the side and bring that foot down. You can readjust here if you would like to, maybe shift over to the side a little bit more or just adjust anything you need to. But we want to try to create about a 90-degree angle here with the legs. Just going for a bit of a groin stretch and shoulder opener here. So on your next exhale, just start to bring that either the hand down, depending on how far you can lean into the side reach. You may be able to bring the forearm down to that thigh. And sweep that left arm down and then out above the head. So you're reaching to the corner of the room, kind of where the wall meets the ceiling. Trying to open that chest forward. And we're going to do a few more circles like that. So staying in that side lean, open that arm down and out, and then sweep it down and across. So we're just getting into the shoulder here a little bit as we hold this nice stretch, getting into the hips a little bit. Just taking one more circle here. And the next time you bring that arm up, continue the circle, but let it lift you. So you're kind of moving with that arm, coming back to center. Go ahead and guide that leg back to center. Straighten it out and release that heel down. So we're going to shift now into a hamstring stretch, stretching the whole back of the leg, probably into the calf as well. If you do have blocks, definitely grab those in your hands here. And you can just fold forward with them, or you can place them on either side of the feet. If you don't have a block, it's very important to bring your weight into that left thigh. Don't put any weight into that right leg. So we're going to lift and lengthen. And on our exhale, we're thinking of folding the belly forward. So I want to touch that belly to the thigh. I'm not trying to touch my toes. I'm just trying to fold that belly forward just to get the correct pelvic alignment in order to effectively stretch these muscles. And you might be able to release the forearm down to that left thigh. Again, if you have blocks and you can reach them, you may want to release hands to blocks. And try to relax here as much as possible. This is probably a pretty sensational stretch, meaning you're probably feeling a lot in the muscles. And if you're not, either your pelvis might not be in the proper alignment, or you may need to move a little bit deeper. So really, if moving deeper doesn't increase very much, I want you to really press that belly button down towards the ground, and you'll feel that shift in the stretch. Relax the head here, relax the breathing, just taking a few more breaths. Maybe even coming back to that bumblebee breathing for 2 or 3 breaths. When you're ready to come out of the stretch, lift up on an inhale. I think we can leave the blocks where they are. for when we come to the other side. But go ahead and lean back. Bring your weight into your hands. Try to keep the shoulders down though and the chest open. And we're just going to work on turning the hip out and rotating the hip in. So it'll look like it's your toes that are doing all the work, but the rotation is happening at the hip. In fact, if you brought your hand here, you could feel the movement of the head of the femur. You're not actually feeling the head of the femur, but the greater trochanter, kind of that part that sticks out if you've ever looked at a skeleton. You have that socket, the ball and socket joint, and then you have that sticky outy part on the side. The sticky outy parts of our bones are for typically for muscle attachment sites. And so that's what we're feeling rotating in that hip joint. Now go ahead and start adding a little bit of an ankle circling here. So I'm still rotating out and in, but I'm just kind of circling, pointing, flexing with the toes. So just trying to add that another layer of movement here. One more circle. We're not going to switch directions. Not this time. And coming back to center, go ahead and slide that foot back in. Lift back up to your upright position. Close the eyes for a moment and just notice the difference between the two legs. Maybe that right leg feels bigger, more spacious than the left. And when you're ready, an inhale will draw that left knee into the chest. Remember, interlacing those fingers, if you can, behind the thigh or under the thigh. You could, well, actually, you couldn't grab in the front because then you can't straighten the leg. But you could use a t-shirt or a towel or something to kind of grip under there to do your movement if you're having trouble gripping the fingers. We're moving through cat and cow. And remember, you could also just do the spinal movements without the leg. But if you can, join me. Inhaling, that knee draws into the chest, chest opens, chin lifts. Exhaling, scooping out, rounding the spine, straightening out that leg, letting that weight of the leg draw a nice stretch into that upper back like we worked on earlier in class. Moving at your own rhythm, your own pace of breathing. What feels best to your body. Taking one more cycle here, and then we'll move into that groin stretch or that open hip stretch. So the next time you find yourself drawing that knee into the chest, stay upright and open that knee out to the side. So remember here, you can adjust a little bit in your chair. You want to feel as if the torso is still aligning straight ahead, even though that left knee is opening out to the side. And that's what's going to give you more of a sensation of hip stretch. So keeping that chest forward, dip that either that hand to the thigh or elbow to the thigh. If you have a block here, you could bring your hand to the block on the inside of that foot if you want to. And let's bring that right arm down and then around and up. The reason we do this is it's a better way for your shoulder to come into this reach than just lifting the arm up. It just brings it into better alignment. So chest is opening forward. And let's keep moving with that arm circling. So opening out and down, and then sweeping that arm forward, around, and up without letting that shoulder collapse forward. So we want to keep that chest opening. Let that head dip down, maybe deepening that stretch in the neck if it feels good. I'm just taking nice deep breaths here, maybe coming back to your bumblebee breathing. Anytime we hold a stretch, even if we're incorporating movement, it can be really nice to bring back that breathing technique. One more circle here. And then as you circle that arm up, you'll lift up with the arm out of the stretch. And drawing that knee back to center, straightening that leg out and down for our hamstring stretch on the other side. So deep inhale to lift and lengthen. On your exhale, you're hinging at the hip crease. So think of I don't know, you're folding a piece of paper in half. And so this is the point where you fold, not the spine. So keep the spine long. Belly button is pressing actively down towards the ground, down towards the thigh. So you may only come about 1 inch forward before you feel that stretch, and that's fine. Just stay there. If you can, maybe you're moving a little deeper. Maybe you're able to bring hands to blocks if you have blocks. Settle into this stretch. Invite back that Bhramari breathing. We'll stay here for several cycles of breath. Keep actively pressing that navel down towards the ground. Take one more deep Bhramari breath here. And when you're ready, on an inhale, slowly come up. Again, you can leave the blocks where they are for when we move into our forward fold here soon. Go ahead and release the hands back behind you and start to work on the hip rotation. So opening the toes out and then turning the toes in, but the ankle is really staying fixed here, at least for the first part of this movement. That rotation is happening at that hip joint. And you'll probably notice you can rotate further out than you can rotating in, and that's normal. That's just how the joint is put together. Keep those shoulders down, chest open, and when you're ready to add a little ankle circling in, you're just going to kind of circle that ankle down, maybe point those toes as you rotate in. I like to flex as I open out to the side and kind of point as I rotate in. But you may find a different pattern that feels good to you, or you may just be like wiggling the toes the whole time. It's really up to you to make this movement your own. Take one more circle here. That's how I come up with some of my best sequences, is just experimenting. I'm in a pose and I'm like, where would it feel good to go to next? All right, when you bring that foot back to center, go ahead and slide it in, sit up tall. Let's get ready for our first vinyasa sequence. So edge of the seat where you already should be, but readjust if you need to. Opening those palms out, let's roll those shoulders up. And then back and down, kind of drawing the shoulder blades lightly together. Don't feel like you're trying to squeeze and hold a pin there. It's not that activated, but we do want that sensation of the shoulder blades drawing together, the chest opening. Hips are rooting down into the chair. Ribs are over the hips, shoulders over the ribs, head over the shoulders. Enjoying this alignment for a moment. When you're ready, arms come up on an inhale. On your exhale, take that dive forward. So just like you're imagining again folding that piece of paper in half, you're folding at the hips. Hands can come to the thighs for support. If you can reach the ground, of course, they can go there for support. Blocks are a beautiful thing in this forward fold because they can give us a lot more support, especially if we can't comfortably reach the ground. So you may want to pause here with the head in line with the heart. And if you have vertigo or any other issues, inner ear imbalances, you probably don't want to drop that head below the heart. It might make you too dizzy or uncomfortable. But if you can, go ahead and let that head drop down. It's just going to give you a wonderful tractioning and lengthening effect to the spine. You can roll those shoulders out a little bit, turn that head side to side. Just get everything loosened up. And if you would like to experiment with that block placement, I personally super enjoy bringing those hands forward, just kind of stretching out the shoulders and the back a little bit more. Taking another breath or two here. And on an inhale, when you're ready, you'll slowly start to come up, maybe dragging those blocks with you, or if you need to, bringing the hands to the thighs for support. Set those blocks down. Let's take our back bend now. So inhale, maybe roll those shoulders up, back and down. Open those arms out. If you can, see if you can slide those hands to the insides of your chair with the palms open. If that's just too much of a chest opening stretch, then turn the palm in. But if you can manage that open palm, it's just a wonderful way to stretch across the whole chest a little bit more, the front of the shoulder and the biceps. Press that chest and belly forward, lift that chin, breathe here. And on an exhale, release that back bend. From here, we're going to open out to Warrior Two, starting on the right side. So I'm going to open out both legs as wide as I can. I'm kind of on the edge of the chair to give myself the most wiggle room or opening space. I'm trying to turn my right toes out to the side, and then I'm going to start to straighten out that left leg any amount. So I'm trying for this alignment. However, your leg may be at a little more of an angle. We are trying to get totally flattened and opened, but your body may not allow that, and that's okay. Don't force it. So come as close to this alignment as you can. Knee over ankle. Arms out by the sides. Let's inhale those arms up. And exhale, open. Just to shoulder height. Inhale up. And exhale, open. If your balance is good and you want to work on leg strengthening, you can come up out of the chair. As you straighten the arms, you straighten that front leg. And as you come into Warrior Two, you can either stay above the chair or you can come back to the chair for support. So a couple more, maybe just arms. The leg movement requires a good amount of strength as well as balance. Inhaling those arms up, exhaling out. One more time. Come back to your chair if you were doing the standing, straightening, and all of that. And let's reach forward through those right fingertips. So, oh, like someone's pulling that arm. Send that elbow down. And let's sweep that left arm down and around and overhead to extended side angle now. From here, we're going to open that chest any amount, drop that arm back behind you, and then come back to that reach. Inhale, open, only if it feels good. It may not feel good. You may want to just drop that arm down by the side and hold the stretch. One more breath though, if that chest opening feels good to you. Inhaling to open. And exhaling back to extended side angle. Inhale to come all the way up, back to warrior two. Exhale, drop that left hand to the seat of your chair. Inhale that right arm up and exhale into a back bend. It's really kind of a side and back bend. So chest is staying open. Staying open. So I'm losing my words. Enjoying the stretch. Breathing here. And on an inhale, when you're ready, come back up to warrior two one more time. And on your exhale, release. Just let those feet walk in. Come back to your seated mountain pose or Tadasana. One more forward fold and back bend sequence. So you might want to go ahead and prep those blocks if you're going to use them. And find that seated mountain pose positioning. So palms are open, arms are energized, fingers are energized. We're stacking those ribs over the hips, shoulders over the ribs, ears over the shoulders. Maybe roll those shoulders up, back, and down. When you're ready, inhaling the arms up. Exhaling to fold forward, Uttanasana, or our forward fold position. Maybe keeping the head above the heart if you need to, or relaxing all the way down, letting that head dangle heavily here, maybe rolling out the shoulders. Maybe this time you would like to try to reach back and grab for the legs of the chair and just pull yourself into a deeper spinal stretch here. But if you have herniated discs or you have bulging discs, don't push that stretch. I would rather you focus on staying long. You can let the head drop, you can let the spine round, but we don't want to move into deep flexion stretches with the spine, even if it feels good. So experiment here in your last forward fold. What kind of movements you would like to bring in, what kind of hold you would like to make. Just taking a breath or two more here. And on your next inhale, lifting with the back of the head first, then the backs of the shoulders, trying to find that straight back as soon as you can in that lift up. And then let's take that one last back bend. Inhaling to roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Open those palms out. Maybe hooking those fingers like that if you can manage it. And then pressing forward into that back bend any amount more. So belly presses forward, ribs press forward, chest presses forward, chin lifts. Inhale one more time. And on your exhale, release that stretch. And go ahead and find yourself in warrior two on the other side. So starting to open out those legs. Left knee stays bent. Heel under that knee. Right leg, we're trying to open it out to straight by the sides. And we're trying to root that whole foot down. So I should have mentioned on the other side, don't even try to stand. First of all, if you don't have good balance, if you don't have enough strength, and if you can't have that whole sole of the foot down. So if you're kind of rolling in on the arch, which is okay, don't try to stand up. But you are trying to get the whole sole of the foot rooted down on that mat. Inhale those arms out. Warrior 2 position, Virabhadrasana 2. Even though the arms are up, that doesn't mean the shoulders are up. So we're trying to press those shoulders down. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, open out. Maybe you're adding that lift with the legs, so you're straightening that left leg. And then either bending into Warrior 2 or coming back to your seat, Warrior 2. Or again, you're just working the arms. Two more breaths. Last one. Carefully coming back to your chair if you were standing. Let's reach out through those left fingertips. So you reach like someone's pulling that wrist. And then send that elbow down, or the hand is coming to the chair for support. Sweep that right arm down, around, and up. However, if that arm's getting super tired and you just want to keep it by the side, you can do that too. Staying here in extended side angle, or joining me for some chest opening. So inhaling to open that chest as if you could rotate the heart up to the ceiling. And exhaling back to your side reach. Inhaling to open. Exhaling back to the side reach. One more time. And back to your side reach. Inhale now to lift out. Back to Warrior 2. And then release that right hand down by the seat of the chair behind you. Inhale that left arm up. Maybe you stay here in this back bend, side bend combo. Or maybe you move a little bit deeper. So I'm bending that right elbow to allow for a little bit more bending back. Chest is staying open to the front. Breathing here. On an inhale, coming back up to Warrior 2. And then exhale, releasing. We'll make our way to standing now for just a short standing sequence before we relax. So if you would like to come up through chair pose, I recommend it for strengthening in the legs. But if you're feeling just mellow right now and relaxed, maybe just come up. Don't go through your chair pose. But if you would like to try it and you have a block, it can be really nice to just squeeze that block between the thighs. It helps with your alignment and your activation. If you don't have a block, you'll just imagine that there is one there, so you keep space between the legs. Walk those heels in. Sweep those arms out in front of you. Try to lift those hips just a couple inches from the seat and hold here. If the arms out in front is just too much strain, bring the hands to the heart. Utkatasana, chair pose. Very big strengthener to the lower body. When you're ready to come up, gradually straighten the legs on an inhale. Excellent. Go ahead and come around behind your chair. Now, if you're using a yoga mat, you will want to reposition your chair for this short sequence. So you'll want to bring that chair to the end of your mat so that you have space here lengthwise, okay? And so we're just transitioning between two poses here. So we've built up flexibility and opening and alignment to do what's called triangle pose or Trikonasana. I'll show you two ways to do it. So if you know that you're a little less flexible, you'll stay with the back of the chair. And let me just demonstrate real quick first. You're in a very similar positioning to that warrior two. So left toes are towards the chair, right toes are at basically a 90-degree angle to that. Both legs are straight, and you're moving into that lean. It's a wonderful total body stretch and strengthening move. If you know you're a little more flexible, you'll actually use the front of the chair. And you do need to have a little bit of good balance for this positioning as well. You'll be using the seat of that chair. So it'll just allow you to move a little bit deeper into that triangle position. I'm going to demonstrate with the chair back because I feel probably most folks will have difficulty balancing and also reaching that seat of the chair. But you've seen how to do it if you need it that way. So starting sideways to the chair, I would rotate out the left toes first and then step out. So a couple little baby steps, kind of figuring out how wide you want the feet apart. Getting that lower body into alignment. Then we're going to take that lean. So you're trying to reach out through that left shoulder, leaning that whole left shoulder down, trying to keep the body flat, like your back was to a wall. You're trying to keep the whole back to the wall. So try not to lean forward in the shoulders. Keep that opening. If you can and it feels okay, bring that right arm up. Make sure you're not locking that knee joint. You're keeping just a slight bend even though the leg is straight. Reaching and stretching here. Couple more deep breaths. And from here, we're going to move into a balanced posture if you choose. So you may just want to stay here and enjoy this stretch. If you would like to try a little challenge and move into that balanced posture, bring that right hand, if you can, to your hip. Bend into that left knee. And you're trying to kind of push off that right foot to come into half moon balance. Hand can stay here, or it can move to the seat of the chair. And maybe that right hand needs to come here for support, or maybe you can lift it up. So trying to balance here. And when you have had enough, whoop, bring that foot down, come up to standing. Let's bring those feet together a pretty far ways away from the chair. So I'm still holding on. We're just going to stretch that right side. So lifting that arm up, push into that right hip, maybe bending that left knee even to just allow you to move a little deeper into your stretch, stretching the back and the side of the body. On an inhale, come up, and we're going to switch sides. So you can just turn around. I'm going to move my chair so my back's not facing you. So finding that triangle positioning, kind of getting those feet wide apart, turning those right toes towards the chair. Experiment with your foot placement here and how wide you want those legs apart. Remember, legs stay straight. Hips are angling this way, not towards the chair. Take a deep inhale, exhale, start to dip that left shoulder down. So you're just kind of dipping that shoulder straight down. You'll feel the stretch in the legs, in the torso. Send that left arm up if it feels good to you. holding here in triangle pose. Deep breathing, maybe inviting that Brahmari breathing back for a couple more rounds. Making sure you're not locking those knees out. There's just a little micro bend going on. Go ahead and bring that hand to the left hip, unless you want to stay in triangle. If you want to try that half moon balance, you're going to bend into that right foot. Try to springboard off, so I kind of push off with my toes with that left leg to get that weight centered over the right foot. And you can bring that left hand and right hand to the chair. Remember, hips are still and chest are still trying to open out. That's what makes this even a little more challenging of a balance. Trying to maintain that alignment just like we were in triangle. Couple breaths here if you can. And slowly lift up and out as gracefully as you can. And let's take that final side stretch. So feet are a good ways away. You're already kind of leaning. Inhale that left arm up. Exhale, reaching to that right side and pressing into that left hip. Little bend with that right knee. And whenever you're ready to come out of it, release that stretch and walk those feet in. And let's come to our final relaxation. So you can move to a couch, to a comfy chair. Just come back to your chair, move to your bed. You've got lots of options. But we're just trying to get as comfortable and relaxed as we can here. If you're staying in the chair like I am, I like to kind of lean back and just rest just kind of interlace loosely with my fingers, and they just kind of friction holds in place. I like to let those feet open out. Just get settled. So relax as much as you can. Let your eyes close. And we'll just take a little bit of time to let all of our work and our breathing and our mindfulness settle in. And so don't try to control your breathing. Just let it flow naturally. And for the next several breaths, just try to release any tension that you're holding on to in the body. So maybe observing the space of the forehead, and releasing any tension there, especially between the eyebrows. And then relaxing the jaw and the tongue. Letting the mouth part slightly. Relaxing the shoulders and the arms. Relaxing the hips and the glute muscles. Relaxing all the way down to the feet. Just allowing your body to feel like it's melting into the support of your chair or couch or wherever you are relaxing. Heavy body, light breath. The feeling of deep settling. letting go, release. And feel free to stay here a little bit longer. But if you're ready to come out, just begin to deepen the breath a little bit, breathing a sense of lightness and airiness back into the body. As if you could send that air all the way down to the toes and the fingers for them to move and wiggle. And then making those movements a little bigger, maybe pointing and flexing the feet or rolling the ankles, rolling the wrists, scrunching and spreading the fingers. Maybe it would feel good to take a deep stretch, reaching the arms and legs far apart, lengthening the whole body. And then slowly bring yourself to a seated position. If you're reclined all the way back on your back, maybe just stay where you are and bring your palms together in front of the heart. Those of you who have come to a seated position, try to stack that spine again. Draw the palms together in front of the heart. And just take a moment to express gratitude to your body, to your mind, to your spirit for joining together in this practice today. The light and love within me recognizes that within you. Namaste. When you're ready, you can blink open your eyes. Thank you again so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, you know you can always reach out to me. And I just hope that you feel nice and settled and a little easier in your body, hopefully, after that practice. I hope I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.